Hi folks, this is Chris at the Living Room. I am the food services manager, and we are going to butcher a whole chicken so that we get 8 usable pieces out of it. I've got a whole chicken here, and it's just a fresh chicken. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the chicken on its back. So that's the back side. We're going to put the chicken down on its back, and the first thing I want to do is remove the wing tips. Here's our wing, and we're basically just going to lay it flat on the board, on the cutting board, and we're going to cut this little wing tip off. The reason I do that is there's not a lot of meat on that, and a lot of times you'll have feathers on that part of the chicken. As you can see, we have feathers right here, so we just want to get rid of that. It's really, there's no meat, there's nothing to it. So we've cut the wingtips off. I'm going to turn the chicken around so that the legs are closest to me. And then I'm just going to push the legs apart a little bit. And I want to cut away any extra fat like this. This is just skin, once again, no meat. And we can get rid of that bit of fatty part right there. Same thing on the other side. Now we've got the chicken still on its back, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the legs and the thighs off. So you can feel where the breast comes into the thighs, and we want to cut it right here. We want to cut right through this piece. So I'm just going to start cutting here. I'm going to flip the chicken over so it's on its side, and I'm taking my knife and I'm basically cutting this way until I've hit, this is basically the hip bone. Now if you take it with your hand, grab the leg and thigh and just pull it down, then you break that joint. And now we can take our knife in there and disconnect that. So here we have a leg and a thigh, and we'll get 2 pieces out of this. Let's do the other side. I've got the chicken on its back again, and where I feel there's no meat, because the breast ends right here, and then the leg and thigh start right here, and there's just this flappy skin. It's going to cut through the skin. I'm going to take my knife, and it's really good if you use a tip of your knife instead of your entire knife. If you use the tip of your knife just in little motions like that, and then once I have the skin cut, I'm going to break that joint. And here's the thigh bone that goes into the hip right there. And we're basically coming through that joint. And here's our second leg and thigh, okay? And then the next thing I like to do is to separate the breast. So on its back, and we can flip it up so it's now sitting on its neck. And we're going to come around. This is the rib cage here, and I've just kind of cut through the rib cage. And then I'm going to come back here, leave all the wing intact. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. And now I'm going to take my knife here. I'm going to go into this neck bone area, and I'm just going to cut down. And the same thing on this side. And now we've removed all of the backbone. So the backbone has no meat on it, but it's fantastic for stocks. if you wanted to make a chicken stock, and we'll cover that at some point. We'll cover what to do with leftover chicken bones and how we can use them. Now, we've got our breast and we have our wings attached to it. One thing I like to do is, I know there are lots of people that like wings, we're going to cut the wing out right here. So we have a wing and we have a bit of meat attached to it also. And it's finding that bone right there and cutting through it. Okay? So now we have 2 wings, we have 2 thighs and 2 legs. That's 2, 4, 6. And now we have our breast. And there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can lay the breast in this way and cut right down the backbone, or we can flip it over. It's a bit more stable if we flip it over. And then we can go right down the middle. And we can cut the breast in this manner, okay? Now, it's a large piece of chicken, and you can get even more out of it. We can cut the breast in half. Two pieces there. And we'll go ahead and cut this in half again. So we have white meat. We have wings. And the thighs. And if you wanted to separate the leg from the thigh, and this is a good time to just kind of look and see if there's any extra fat you want to take off of it. And so we have our leg that goes to about right here. And then the thigh goes from this point on. And you can feel, with your finger, you can feel a bone right there. And if we cut right through that bone, then we have a leg and we have a thigh. And we'll do the same thing for the other piece. As I have it here, I'm just going to take some of the extra skin and fat off of it. And I'm going to lay it basically on its backside. You can feel for that joint. You'll feel the bone, and then the bone will split into, there's a little divot, and we'll go right through. So we have legs, thighs, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 usable pieces from the chicken. Just a safety tip on chicken. Chicken is really, it carries a lot of bacteria that can make you very ill in a couple different ways. If we don't cook the chicken enough, if it's not cooked at 165 degrees, or also if we don't clean the area or cutting boards or knives where we've worked, if we haven't cleaned it very well, then any remaining chicken blood or skin or anything, if other foods come in contact with any of that, then that has the potential to make someone very ill. So remember, when you're done with raw chicken, when you've cut it up, when you're done with it, you got to make sure that super hot water, even a bit of bleach on the cutting board, that will really help you to stay safe. Alrighty.